Good, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the August meeting of your Louisville Town Council. It's always good to have you with us, whether you're here in person or whether you're watching us tonight on TV6 or if you're watching us on Facebook. I think we have both of those things running. Congratulations, Stacey Tolbert. After years and years and years of previous people struggling with it, you finally got it on your first time. But thank you very much. That's a great meeting for us to be on. We'll start our meeting as in customary with the council members introducing themselves.
Good evening, I'm Jane Welch.
Good evening, I'm Jean Marie Foster.
I'm Mike Horn.
I'm Ken Sadler.
Happy Thursday, I'm Melissa Hunt.
And I'm Fred Franklin.
Very good. Councilman David Smitherman is not with us this evening. He's out on the West Coast, I understand, or maybe he's lost in Yosemite, but he's out there wandering someplace. So David, if you're watching us on Facebook, good to see you. We also have with us Town Interim Manager Stacey Tolbert, Town Attorney Bo Houff, Town Clerk Dora Moore, who is also filling in for, actually Stacey, you're filling in for Town Finance Director Pam Orell, who I'm sure is watching us on TV6. So Pam has sequestered herself. I don't think she minds us sharing this. She had a possible exposure to COVID. She did not have COVID, but she had a possible exposure, so she's going through the protocol as any responsible person would. So Pam, if you're watching, we miss you. Hope you get back here pretty soon. We'll start our meeting this evening with an invocation by Bo, and then followed by a Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Jane Welch. If you're able, please stand and join us.
Let us pray. God our Father, we thank you for this beautiful, beautiful day that we've had. We thank you for all that you give to us each and every day. We come to you tonight thanking you for this town, for its citizens, for its staff, for its elected officials, and for those who protect and serve. We ask you to be with us during the course of this meeting, that decisions will be made with wisdom and with courage. We ask you to also be with us as we make our way home later this evening, and to guide us and direct us in all that we do. For it's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I also want to introduce Eva Foster. And while you can't see her at home, Eva is brightly adorned in a pink blouse tonight. Eva is here because she will be participating in our Student Leadership Committee program, which is coming up next week. We'll talk more about that later when that get to that point in the agenda. Thank you, Eva, for being here. Thanks, Mom, for accompanying her. Very good. Council members, we do have a couple of additions to the agenda with your indulgence. Under old business, we've added a discussion on manager search process, and this is really just to make some determinations of how we're going to move forward. All of you should have received the file from Matt Reese at the Piedmont Triad Council of Governments, Piedmont Triad Regional Council, who has a number of applicants for us to be able to look at, and I think the discussion there is really how we want to move forward in that process. Second thing would be under new business, and this would be under 12E, and I sent a note out to you all earlier about this. This is just, again, a discussion about how to proceed, or do we want to proceed with looking at installing solar panels on the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. And the third addition that we have on this agenda is a closed session. That'll be at the end of this meeting, and that'll be discuss legal issues. Ms. Moore, anything that you have that you need to add?
Yes, sir.
Council members? Not want to entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
Motion.
Ms. Hunt makes the motion. Ms. Welch or Ms. Foster? Ms. Welch made the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous. Consent agenda. Ms. Tolbert?
Yes, on tonight's consent agenda is Resolution 2022049, financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2022, preliminary and unaudited. Approval of agenda briefing minutes for July 7th, 2022. Approval of closed session minutes, July 7th of 2022. Approval of regular meeting minutes, July 14th of 2022. Approval of closed session minutes, July 14th, 2022. And a resolution 2022052, accepting the resignation of Julie Rutledge from Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, the consent agenda, as you know, if you've been a frequent watcher of our broadcast, are items that routinely come before the council. These are finance reports and minutes, and we take them as a group to approve them unless any member of the council wishes to pull an item off for individual discussion. Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Franklin makes the motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous. PJ.
Good evening, how are y'all?
Great.
Good evening.
Good to see everybody. Got a report for you for July. If you pull that up, you can see 586 calls for service, 285 security checks, 37 traffic arrests and violations, and 23 alarm calls, still running about a 5-minute response time. We are officially up and running with the new deputy working the split shift from 11 to 11, so that should help some on the calls, and not only the call volume, but the safety for the other officers that are actually working out here. So nothing really significant. We did have a critical event over in Clemens last week, and that's pretty much all hands on deck when we have a major situation like that. So I hope those guys are getting along well, all those that are involved. Safety tip for this month, since we're starting back to school, thought it'd be a good time to talk about school bus safety. So I want to say, first of all, I appreciate all the bus drivers. So they have a hard job, and I would encourage each and every one of us as drivers to give them a little courtesy, a little respect. They have our kids' interest at heart, so it takes a special person to want to take on that responsibility to drive a school bus, so I commend them. So 20-217, that is the violation for passing a stopped school bus. Just a couple little things that I want to discuss with you. All drivers have to stop when it comes to a school bus, okay? Failure to do so is a $500 fine on addition with court costs, so nobody likes to pay that money. And the big thing is also the 5 points on your driver's license, and with insurance points comes more premium, so we want to try to avoid that. If we really stop and pay attention, it's going to help us with the safety and the well-being of all of our kids. I did want to take a second just to mention that for the young folks and parents to be involved, make sure that we're conveying this information at home about staying off the roadways at the school stops. Still into that time frame where a lot of these buses come through and it's still fairly dark. So let's make sure that we're giving the drivers plenty of room and not being out in these intersections. Make sure that we're staying off the roadways. And if you have a concern with where a bus is actually stopping to pick up your child, convey that information to the school. Maybe they can get something resolved. So I think with all of us working together, we can make it safe. We do unfortunately have kids that get hit by drivers crossing or waiting at the school stop. So we want to make sure that they're as safe as possible. You'll see some extra patrols through the neighborhoods. We'll be following school buses, looking for those drivers. And I promise you that if we catch you passing a stopped school bus, then you'll have court costs associated with that, because we want everybody to be safe. So we do have a new deputy working, Dimitri Galbraith. She is I won't say a new deputy. She's new to Louisville, certainly not new to law enforcement. Comes to us with about 13 years of experience with law enforcement. Most of that time spent at the city of Winston, 10 years on patrol. So she has a wealth of knowledge, spent a lot of time in investigations within the sheriff's office, been here about 3 years. So we are honored to have her. So if you see her out, welcome her. I told her this is the best kept secret in the sheriff's office. So she's tickled to be here, and chance to meet her, and we look forward to working with her.
Any questions for PJ?
Quick question, PJ. I don't know if Dimitri can be seen with the camera. Can she come up?
And we'll allow her.
Where would you like me to go?
Oh,
Come right on up here, Dimitri, so we can get a good shot. Besides, you make me look a whole lot better.
I think she's gonna be a great asset to,
Yeah,
to
welcome.
community policing.
Yeah,
happy to have you.
yes.
Welcome
Yeah.
to our community. We can do anything, let us know.
Yeah,
Not only you were at our service, but we're at your service.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, PJ.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Take care. See ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first opportunity for residents who may wish to address the council during our public forum. If there's anybody in the audience who wishes to come up, share what's on their mind, what's in their hearts, now is the time to do it. I'm not seeing any rush to the podium, so I'm guessing that we have nobody wishing to address the council tonight, so we'll move on. Thank you. Dora, you have some appointments for us, please.
Yes, sir. Before the council is Appointment Order 2022-007, appointing Henry Fansler to the Environmental Conservation and Sustainability Committee. Mr. Fansler would serve as an ex officio member to this committee.
Very good. My understanding is he does live outside of the town of Louisville,
Yes, sir.
but has some real interest in public safety and, I'm sorry,
Environmental.
environmental sustainability, thank you. And so we welcome him to our committee. May we entertain a motion, council members?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Foster makes the motion, Ms. Hunt makes the second. Any discussion?
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
How many currently are on that committee? Do you know?
Maybe 7,
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
and that's just a guess, so I
Okay.
may be off a couple.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Any additional questions? Very good. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Great, that is unanimous. All right, Stacy, you now put on your hat, your planner hat for our next item.
Good evening, council. As you recall, a couple months ago, we came before you with a UDO text amendment, L-167, for the Louisville Rural Overlay and some changes to the planned residential development section of our ordinance. Planned residential developments are a type of major subdivision that developers can do, that generally, the intent is for them to serve as more of a conservation subdivision in the fact that they require open space and that sort of thing. With some concerns from residents, some concerns from council, we took that back. This council tabled that public hearing and we took it back to the planning board. The planning board has done a great job of deliberating and coming up with what we feel is a much better recommendation to town council. In doing that, it took them about 2 meetings to do so. We went back to the drawing board. And so like I said, we do feel we have much better regulations to offer now than we did before. What we're looking at is we have dove quite a bit farther into our planned residential developments for open space requirements to really hit home with that intent of what those developments are really were sought out to do to begin with. So in that, with it taking the planning board just a little bit extra time, last night at their planning board meeting, they voted to hold their new public hearing for August the 24th, which is their next planning board meeting. So in that event, we would not be able to have the public hearing here tonight before council. So I'm asking for one more continuation until your regular September meeting to hold that public hearing after the planning board is able to hold theirs. What we have done, since the regulations are different than what we originally brought to council, we have put out a new notice to residents. The requirements for text amendments is newspaper notices. So we have put out a new notice for the planning board, and we plan to do the same for town council, so we can make sure that we let our residents know the delay and the new dates for the public hearing. So tonight, I'm just asking for one more continuation until your regular September meeting.
Any questions for Stacy? Entertain a motion to continue our public hearing until September 8th, which is our regular town council meeting date.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Foster makes the motion. Ms. Welch makes the motion. Maybe I earwax or something in his ear. I'm hearing the wrong voices. Ms. Hunt makes the second. I'm sure about that one over here. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that's unanimous. We'll continue until September 8th.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Council members, as you're aware, we have an interim manager that was named a couple of months ago as we began our search for a new manager. All of you have received the packet that Matt Reese of the Piedmont Triad Regional Council has put together for us. Fred, is that right? Piedmont Triad Regional Council.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Has put together for us. It is quite lengthy.
Mercy.
If you'll recall, when Mr. Reese first talked to us about looking for a manager, he was not overly optimistic. He said that there were about there were two openings for every, there was one opening for every, let me say this again. There were two openings for every one candidate, so he thought that we would be a little pressed getting a good slate of candidates very quickly. Well, on our first fishing trip, we came back with at least 5 top shelf candidates, or at least that's what they've determined based on their preliminary screening. And we have a couple more below that, which we call second tier, that we could consider as well. All of those are in your packet. If you didn't receive your packet, let me know, and I'll make sure you get a copy of it, either a printed copy of it or a link to the copy on the website. But the question tonight, Council, is how would you like to proceed? We have a couple of options. Matt has offered to hold a Zoom meeting with us and kind of instruct us on how they generally proceed. We can go that way, and then we can determine how, if we want to do a full council in the interview process or a smaller group in a pre-screening, but I think maybe those are decisions we can make after we have that meeting with Matt. Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask you, I really don't want to wait until next month to have that meeting, so are there times that we can look at now in the next, I would hope in the next week or so, that we might be able to schedule a Zoom meeting with Matt?
After Monday,
after
we'll be
the
able to have a
15th,
Zoom
we can't.
meeting. Yeah, the state of emergency
Yes.
order will be lifted on August the 15th, Monday. That will no longer allow for
Yep.
Okay.
virtual meetings for
Okay.
council.
So it's going to have to be an
that
in-person
right,
meeting
Dora?
then.
Okay.
Or can it be a special called meeting? We still can't do Zoom.
Right.
Okay.
But regardless, if it's a quorum of your council, it would be considered a special called meeting. Yes, ma'am.
So if you all would take a quick look at your calendars, it's probably easier to do it this way than for Dora to try to do it individually.
Mayor, would he still be able to, if we can't do Zoom and we're all 6 getting together, he's going to come in person then?
It's whatever we wish. We can bring him in by Zoom if all of us are here in person, or he can come here.
Not after Monday. So after Monday,
I
is
think
that-
we can still have presentations by Zoom, can't we?
I don't know.
No, you can't have Zoom meetings. So whether
Yeah.
you can have a presentation in, I don't know.
This would have to be a closed session as well.
Yes, and you cannot do closed session in Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be an in-person meeting, so we'll need to give Matt just a little bit of notice, but what dates look good for you guys? Doris, since you have the master calendar, do you want to try to wrangle us?
Well, this,
Matt still live here.
the meeting calendar looks good for next week.
Mayor
There's,
said-
Okay, I thought he did. Just know he's gonna.
Would all of that be circumvented if, in the event that there's a subcommittee and it's not a quorum, would then a Zoom meeting suffice?
I don't know, I'd need to look at your meeting guidelines
Okay.
for electronic meetings to see what that says.
That is a really good question, if there's less than
Yes.
a quorum.
Right.
Well, if it's less than a quorum, we don't have to advertise it as a meeting.
I think that for the first meeting, though,
We had
having all
agreed.
council
Okay.
members hear from Matt, as you said already. I think that
Okay.
makes sense.
Would Monday or Tuesday of next week work for the majority?
And Monday you have your leadership.
Tuesday.
You have leadership.
That's Tuesday. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could do it after the leadership meeting.
How is Wednesday for everybody? Wednesday the 17th.
I'd have to do evening on that day. 4 o'clock after.
Yes.
Yes? Jane?
Yes.
You're talking at late in the evening, right?
In the evening, yeah, I think so, because that will accommodate you and David.
Yeah.
Doctor?
Fine.
Perfect.
If Matt's available.
Will you, we'll check with Matt and check with him in the morning, and then we'll put out our notice of meeting.
So anytime after 6 or later?
What's your pleasure, council?
Fred.
I'm good. Yeah.
6:30?
Yeah, 6 or
6 works?
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock? Excellent, thank you.
Yes.
What time?
6 o'clock, Wednesday the 17th, unless Matt has a conflict, but he comes home to Louisville every night anyway, so we should be okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this is a very exciting time for us. We're have an opportunity to bring in a new manager, and when you have a situation like that, you always are encouraged and excited and looking at the opportunities and the possibilities. So your council will be very engaged in this process, and we hope to have it concluded here in the next couple of months. So we have, we'll be able to continue the full slate of activities that we have going on and not lose a beat. All right. Thank you, council. Stacy, I think you have the Stacy Show now, all of new business.
Yes. The first thing is Resolution 2022048. It is a resolution for a contract with Elite Landscaping Contractors Incorporated for holiday decorating at Shallowford Square, along Shallowford Road, and along Yackenville Road in the sum of $14,720.
Council members, any questions? Entertain a motion, please.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do we have a separate contract for community center? For the decorations that go into the community center?
Yes, and
Okay.
Town Hall.
Okay.
When those facilities get decorated, that's a different These are the ones that are the lights for the square and the lights that you see along the streets.
Same vendor?
No.
Okay.
Different
Thank you.
vendor, Yeah.
Any other questions?
Motion. Mayor, I'll motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Ms. Hunt makes the motion, Ms. Foster makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that is unanimous. Stacy?
Okay. Next is Resolution 2022051. This is a resolution for the town to authorize a contract for Blue Stream Environmental. What they will be doing is our stormwater mapping for the town that is required for us to be compliant with our stormwater, our state permit that we have. That is for an amount not to exceed $58,200.
Any questions for Stacy? Entertain a motion, please.
Approve.
Mr. Franklin makes the motion, Ms. Foster makes the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that's unanimous.
Okay, and the next one is ordinance 2022044. This will be amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 fee schedule in our budget ordinance. What this is for is, at our briefing last week, we discussed the possibility of raising the cleaning and damages fee at the community center due to some issues that we've had there. The $200 hasn't really been covering when we do have issues after rentals. So we were asking the town council to raise that refundable fee to $300, which would be $300 per room that is rented instead of $200, but it is fully refundable.
There's no break if somebody does like 3 rooms, it's still $900?
I think so, yeah.
And is that retroactive to people that have already booked with that have booked with us at the 200, or is that
No.
just the future?
That's just the future, yeah. The ones who have already booked have already paid that $200 cleaning fee, so this would be all new rentals from now on.
Very good. Any questions for Stacy?
Second.
Ms. Welch makes the motion, Ms. Hunt makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that's unanimous.
Okay, and last for new business is ordinance 2022045. This will be amending Chapter 16 in the Louisville Town Code related to the Mary Alice Warren Community Center rules and regulations that have to be followed. The rule that we are wanting to add notes that anyone that brings outside furniture into the building must first have that approved by town staff 14 days prior to the event. That is simply so that we can make sure the type of furniture that they're bringing into the building does not damage the flooring, and, those types of things. So that is at the recommendation of our facility manager to add that rule into the town code.
Any questions for Stacy? Entertain a motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hunt makes the motion. I am still having difficulty. Jane, were you talking a high-pitched voice? Second. Or low-pitched voice? Second. Great. Motion was made by Ms. Hunt, seconded by Ms. Welch. Any further discussion? All those in favor, excuse me, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, that's unanimous. Council, if you recall, it's been a little over a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half, and we adopted a resolution that we would try to reach some type of sustainability as part of our town council by and cut our carbon footprint. And I'm gonna get the percentage wrong. Was it 25% by 2030?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I know it's 2030, 2035, but I'm not sure the exact
Yes,
percentage.
and so, at that time, we had a very robust discussion about what that would mean for the town. We did acknowledge that it was gonna require some investments on our part, that sustainability just doesn't happen. It requires investment in the will to make it happen by council. This is the first proposal coming to us that I'm seeking your guidance on, and this would be to put solar panels on the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. You all were forwarded earlier this week a proposal by Jeff Redwine, and he's been working with the town for several months on what that facility would need, what kind of equipment it would be, the capacity of it. He has put forth a proposal. Now, this is a proposal, and Stacy, I believe you had mentioned to me that because it's over $30,000, we need to do a competitive bid.
We can do informal bidding. It does
Informal
not
bidding.
have to be advertised, but a lot of times if what we're going out for contract for is between $30,000 and $500,000, then we have to do what's called an informal bid, where we just go out and ask for some quotes and then take whichever one we feel is best. We do not have to go through an actual advertised bidding process. That's when it's over $500,000 that we have to do that, so.
Thanks for
just
that
informal bids.
clarification. So council, the first question is, do we want to move forward with this project?
Yes.
I'm assuming that the graphic that was shown, like the drone picture and then the superimposed panel that's on there, I'm assuming that's what we're talking about. I could support it after seeing that. I mean, in other words, that's not very invasive or intrusive or anything. It's on the right side of the building, if you will, for not only to catch the sun, but not to be an eyesore for the roadway and so forth, And I believe I read that it was what they call flush mount, so it's not sticking up very high and everything, so like I say, I can support it, so.
Mayor, is there an opportunity for if we do go out for informal bidding, or at some point for them to come and present to us so that we can review and ask questions?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have kind of the specs that we would be asking people for bids for. I think we have 2 or 3 people that Duke Power has recommended that do this kind of work. So we could send them the specs and ask them if they'd like to provide a quote or a bid on the project. We could talk about it, and then we could bring that individual in and talk to it, yeah.
I'm definitely in support of sustainability, environmental, yeah. We have everything we need there, set up for,
It's wired, and conduits are all set. It's just ready for the power source.
yeah. I like it.
I would have questions, technical questions down the road that, as far as the presentation, like 25 years from now, when you got to re-roof the building, has the panels outlasted their livelihood? Or do they need to be disassembled to roof the building? Just technical questions I would like to have answered as we go forward, just because I don't know.
Yeah, I think, Fred, it's really important that if we get several people who do want to submit a bid, that we make some determination who that person would be, and then bring them in
Yeah.
before we award the bid,
Yeah.
and have those kind of conversations and answer those questions.
ESC. S.
They'll be-
S-
Yeah, I
the-
think it's important
ECSC.
they're brought in on this. one.
Okay.
Yeah. But before we slide it to committee, I want to be sure that all the kids on the bus were on board.
I love the
We
idea.
have 36 solar panels on our barn, so I'm definitely in support. It's been a very positive thing for us.
Very good. Stacy will then talk logistics
Okay.
and see how to get that in the works. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, what is Mr. Redwine's role?
I've asked him if he wanted to do two things. Number one, he has worked up the real, I think, specs for us, because we didn't have obviously the knowledge to be able to do that. I've asked him if he would like to have his company submit a bid, or if he potentially would like to serve as a consultant on the project. If he wants to submit a bid, then he will be invited, just like a number of other people that we might reach out to. If he decides that he wants to serve as a consultant, we'll come back and discuss if that's something we want to do, and have somebody who knows what they're doing work this project forward for us.
And so those numbers that we saw, those are preliminary.
I suspect those would be
Pretty close,
his company's numbers, yeah. Yeah.
And the grants that he mentioned in that information, I know when we were talking about EV stations throughout, is there any additional funding that we can receive if we tapped in, or is that's what
think-
they do, is propose
I
that?
think there are separate grants that you can go after specifically for solar panel, renewable energy, that sort of thing.
And that would be separate of what they propose to
I
us?
assumed, yeah. Well, I know that Duke Energy themselves offer, rebates and grants and,
Yeah.
that was part of some of the cost
Yeah.
in here, but I'm sure there's state grants and to
Okay.
help with the cost.
Well, if the House approves the
Inflation
In-
reduction.
IRA, that's good. If the House approves that and the president signs it, there's a big hunk of money that's going to come to states for charging stations. So,
Wonderful.
And more incentives too for what we do.
We got ARPA money out there we could use, right?
we do. Very good, thank you, council. We'll move forward on that. Stacy, upcoming events, please.
Yes, at Shallowford Square, we have got some events through August and September that are coming up. August the 27th is Shot Through the Heart, a Bon Jovi tribute band from 7 to 9 p.m. September 9th, that's a Friday evening movie, Clifford the Big Red Dog, where bingo will start at 6:45. That's hosted by the Girl Scouts, and that is a really good movie, by the way. I have seen that. September 17th is the Megan Doss Band with special opening guest James Vincent Carroll from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And then I would like to mention on September 30th is the start of our annual fitness walk. You can call Stacy Howard at Town Hall and register for that. And the goal is to walk 50 miles between September 30th and November 30th. So you can call really, I guess, at any time and start registering for that.
25 miles a month.
Yeah.
5 miles a week. 1 mile a day. We can do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you, Stacy. You have some good news for us on our Gateway project?
I do. We spoke briefly at our briefing last week about the Gateway project, and we have had a little bit of trouble getting bids. We did go back. We are back out to bids currently. August 9th, we held in here in person and virtually. There was a virtual option, a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting. So there was actually 3 people that showed up and showed interest. So it was non-mandatory, so we're hoping that we even have more. But August 25th will be that bid opening date. So we're fingers crossed that we'll get some contractors interested in that project.
That's great news.
And Stacy, when is that set to kind of go live?
Or we can get a bid. That's what we're waiting on. All the right-of-way has been acquired, the money is there, we're just waiting on a bid.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Ms. Moore, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Just a reminder that next Tuesday as you mentioned earlier, Mayor, is our summer student leadership. The staff and I know the council are very excited. We have 27 students who will be participating in this day-long event. Registration begins at 8:30 and it's scheduled to conclude around 6 o'clock. We have stormwater presentations, there will be a trip to the fire station, the drone from the sheriff's office is supposed to be here, and just a great time for the students in our area to learn a little bit about local government.
Very good. Council members, any questions?
I don't have a question, Mayor. I just want to comment. Thank y'all so much for all the effort you're putting into this. I think it's the impact that it's going to make in our residents and the lives of these children is so important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dora, did you say that maybe they were watching on TV6 tonight?
Yes, sir. We did invite the students to either attend in person or watch on Channel 6 or Facebook Live, so hopefully some of them are.
Well, Eva, you're here live, so we appreciate that. And those of you who I hope are watching on TV6, we look forward to seeing you next week. I think it's going to be a great time, so come ready.
Yes,
And Dory say lunch is pizza?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
That'll draw 'em.
Feed them and they will come. The other item is just a reminder to the council that if you have not completed your 2 hours required ethics training, that needs to be done before October 31st, please.
Thank you. Any questions? Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the first Thursday of every month, we have our briefing sessions. And occasionally at some of those sessions, we do take action on items. We want to report those out at our regular town council meeting when you all are watching. And I believe our interim manager will report those out now.
Yes, sir. We had ordinance 2022043, a budget amendment to remove and grind a stump of a dead maple tree on the Fred Moser lot here on Shalford Road for the total amount of $1,600. And then a resolution 2022050 to contract with Russell Construction Company for some repairs of three different areas in town for some stormwater repairs, totaling amount of $13,400.
Very good. Any questions? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've approached that second time in our meeting when you've anxiously been waiting for it to come forward and share your comments with the council. Anyone wish to come forward and make a comment? There looks like potential movement, potential suggestion for movement.
I think she's writing it.
No movement. Okay.
She does, Mayor.
She does.
Oh,
She's writing one.
she's writing one. Okay. Well, we'll be patient here. And in fact, we will come back to that in just a second, so don't hurry. We'll come right back to you. Council, any comments? Very good. And as is our process, thank you, Eva. During the past school year, 21-22, we were given a form to fill out on a vote of the dinosaur names, yes you were, for the dinosaurs that were said to be somewhere in the front of the community center. Well, Eva, you know the winning names? It is Lewisaurus and Ellisaurus. And Lewisaurus after Lewis Loganauer, who founded the town, and Ellisaurus after Louisville Elementary School. And they are now living behind the community center, so if you want to run up there one afternoon and just pop around behind off the porch, you'll see them grazing in the forest there. Very good. Thank you. I feel like I'm doing most of the talking tonight. I apologize for that, Council. But there's just been a lot of weighty things that have come through. I've had comments from several of you, and I've also had some comments from a number of residents that they're not aware of the things that are going on at the community center. In fact, some folks have indicated they've missed some things because it just wasn't at an easily found place for them to learn what was going on. The infra manager and facilities manager have talked a little bit about this, and certainly they're identifying the problems. In the short term, I believe, Stacy, you have some things that you are going to be doing. But I think that, in my mind, the solution is more than just putting it up on social media. I think there are some structural issues, not in the building, but in how we position staff to do that work, and kind of the structural issues with our website that is very difficult to find classes and events. So I would like to ask, actually, get your advice, get your direction on this. I'd almost like to have just a brief 2 or 3 hour brainstorm session with those council members who are interested, to sit down and let's identify the challenges, not only as we see them, but also the challenges that we've heard from our residents. Let's talk through those, and once we identify them, I think that maybe we'll be able to begin to look at realistic solutions for them. First step is let's figure out what's wrong, and then we'll jump in and see how we fix it. So what I would ask for your indulgence and your support of is those of you who wish to participate with the interim manager, I guess myself, in a brainstorming session as to where we are, what the problems are, and where we want to go.
Mayor, I've had a few comments and suggestions from residents, and I'd be glad to participate.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd be happy as well.
Very good. I guess, pardon? That's it. So it's 3. That's right, it has to be 3. Okay.
Ken, don't you have your hand kind of up?
Just call me, Jay.
So Ms. Foster and Ms. Welch, I think both of you all were nodding. I'll let you arm wrestle.
Oh, I think Jane said out loud.
Okay, great. Very good. So we're going to set up something here relatively quickly. Stacy, you'll get back with the 3 of us.
Yes.
Make sure we have a place in our calendar. I think, Melissa, is there any time that's better for you? I know Jane and I are more flexible.
Depends on the week. Just, yeah, if you can
I'll talk to
communicate
you.
with me,
We'll
that'd be
see.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
We'll get something set up.
It's a priority in my eyes, so I'll make it happen.
Thank you, Council. I appreciate that. All righty. Any other council comments this evening? If not, Bo, we're getting ready to go into closed session. Will you lead us there, please?
Yes, the motion would be pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-31811A3, to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go into closed session after a motion and a second here in just a moment. We do not anticipate taking any action coming out of that closed session other than to adjourn the meeting. So you certainly are welcome to stay tuned at home, stay tuned on TV6, stay here in the chamber. We're going to excuse ourselves to the council room here to the right of us. But again, we don't anticipate taking any action coming out of closed session. With that, council, may we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Welch makes the motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We're in closed session. We'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come out of closed session. Thank you very much, if you're still watching, for your patience. As we said, we have no action that we're going to take at this time, with the exception of adjourning the meeting. May we have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hunt makes the motion. Ms. Foster makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.